Do you ever feel like you're coasting through life, doing what's easy or what you're supposed to do? You might be busy being busy, caught up in details that don't really matter. What if I told you that staying on this path could lead to a life full of regrets? According to author Robin Sharma, nothing will fill your heart with greater sense of regret than lying on your deathbed knowing that you did not live your life so as to realize your dreams. Don't waste your life on things that don't matter. Run your own race, one that you can look back on with pride. This is one of the biggest strategies in today's world. People climb the ladder of success, realizing way too late that it's leaning against the wrong wall. And to quote Stephen R. Covey, if the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step we take just gets us to the wrong place faster. I have been caught up in work projects that didn't really contribute to what's truly important to me. And I have been busy being busy. I have been in that rat race, just stressed out. But it's time to break free. There is a better life, friends. It's time to focus on what truly matters and start living a life without regrets. So how do we do that? Let's talk about that. When multiple media channels bombard me incessantly with bad news, such as reports of earthquakes and worldwide pandemic, starving people and bloody war in Europe, I want to immediately solve all of these problems. But I realize that's not possible. And I remember a piece of valuable advice a former boss once gave me. He said, "David, choose your battles wisely." In other words, learn to focus on what's most important. Brian Tracy, the author of over 70 self-improvement books, writes, "The ability to concentrate single-mindedly on your most important task, to do it well, and to finish it completely is the key to great success, achievement, respect, status, and happiness in life." To accomplish big things, you must remain hyper-focused. Our modern-day frenetic lives make achieving radical focus even more of a challenge. We have so many distractions. For instance, Netflix and YouTube provide hundreds and if not thousands of programs that are available to watch anytime. Compare this to the time when I was in elementary school and we didn't have cable TV. It was easy. We had only 3 TV stations to watch, and one of them was in another language. So basically we had 2. If something interesting was on of those channels, great, we watched it. If not, we turned off the TV. It was that easy. Nowadays, it often takes nearly as long to wait through all of the available programs and select as it does to watch the show, right? Too many distractions. And in this 10x Your Results series, let me give you powerful tips to help you achieve more with less. And to start out the series, we'll be looking at what you should focus on. And here it is. This is the focus tip number 1. Know what matters. In our world of distractions, it is often difficult to discern what matters. What is important? I don't know. I don't really know. Should I go for this? Should I go for that? I don't know. In my corporate work, I receive dozens of emails every day. Were they all important? Certainly not. Most of them were trivial, and yet I devoted way too much time to responding to most of them rather than just focusing on a few important ones. This was a waste of time and a drain of my mental energy. Instead of concentrating on my purpose, I allowed myself to be sidetracked. As self-improvement author Brian Tracy says, your ability to choose between the important and the unimportant is the key determinant of your success in life and work. In other words, you must learn to focus on what is important. When America committed to going to the moon in the 1960s, within 7 years of Kennedy's speech, their space engineers needed radical focus to develop all of the technology necessary for a moonshot. They didn't have time to allow themselves to be distracted by unimportant details. Such an ambitious objective forced the engineers to dedicate their entire focus to what mattered. And Warren Buffett, the most successful investor of our time, accumulated a huge fortune by adopting an investment strategy that few others imitate. Instead of going after all the shiny objects, all the crazy crypto and everything, the new things, the new investments available in the market, he concentrates his efforts on a few companies bearing high potential. He understands that the power of radical focus is focusing on one thing, right? That's radical focus. And in his own words, you only have to do a very few things right in your life so long as you don't do too many things wrong. Warren knows how to spot the important stuff. Likewise, the Apostle Paul knew what mattered. He wrote, "For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel." He realized that he had only so much time available to accomplish things. So he wanted to spend that time doing the important task God had assigned to him, teaching the good news. And Jim Collins, the famous author and business consultant, realizes the importance of radical focus too. He says, if you have more than 3 priorities, you don't have any. My future business plan used to list 5 priorities and I wanted to accomplish them in the next 3 years. But I found I wasn't able to focus enough my attention on any of them. And heeding Collins' advice, I redesigned my plan to include just 3 items. Just 3. To do this, I had to make tough choices. For instance, even though I wanted to learn the Cambodian language Khmer better, I had to put that on hold to focus on my 3 most important goals necessary for me to get my rocket off the ground. A clear vision of where I want to be in the next 3 years enabled me to discern what matters most. And focusing on what matters also applies to our daily tasks. And author Brian Tracy cautions us to resist the temptation to start the day by working on trivial things. Instead, he suggests we develop the habit of beginning with high-value tasks, the ones that take us closer to our goals. That way, you are working on what's most important to you when you are at your best. And earlier in the day, that's important, when your mental energy is still high. And make sure to continue with that task until you complete it. And you know, I used to check my email box as soon as I arrived at the office in the morning. Big mistake. I would spend a lot of time responding to all of the messages that others deem to be important and urgent. And then I learned to identify and deal with only those that were important to me. You win your day every single day if you focus on your priorities and don't surrender to other people's urgencies. You alone know your radical focus. So I want to give you this. For the next 90 days, devote the first 90 minutes of your day to your most important project, nothing else, said Ramin Sharma. And the Forbes magazine calls this a power hack. This rule hits the time management trifecta. It's simple, productive, and feasible, since it'll cost you only an hour and a half of your time. And you know, when you focus on one thing, magic happens. Pixar, for instance, focused 3 years on a single movie. Why should I focus? Why should I do that? Well, because everything I release into the world has my name on it. I want this to be of the best quality. Don't put out a lot of things. Put out excellent things. And you know, high productivity is much more about subtraction. And say no. Say no to what is not important. Chase one rabbit only. And I've learned that extreme achievers are minimalist. And I want to do many things every day, but the best do few things. And more importantly, they do the right things. And I had to learn to reduce it to the essentials. So don't waste your life. Heed Stephen R. Covey's advice. Build your ladder against the right wall, because if it's not, every step just takes you to the wrong place faster. So make sure you're doing the right thing. Having a clear, radical focus for your life enables you to maximize the return on your efforts. By concentrating on what is essential to achieve your goals, your chances of success will multiply, because achieving radical focus will build momentum toward accomplishing your mission. Make sure to watch or listen to the next episode of this series. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to download. I have a free gift for you. It's right here in the show notes to become successful and 10x your result right now. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscribes and likes, and I'll see you in the next one.